So how do we get from no information to a full completed production? It starts the year before, because the year before is when we've decided what the spring ballet is going to be. We spent a long time on casting. I don't think people know that so much. You see dancers rising, in their artistry in ways that you weren't expecting so much. Or they do something that turns your thought around about a skill set that they obviously have always had, but we've never seen in one way or another. And so the role thoughts change a little bit.
The rehearsal process is pretty much, you come in and the professor pretty much tells you to practice a few things, depending on, if you're a soloist or doing something with a partner. And then you run it a few times and they'll give you corrections, tell you what to fix and how to fix it, and you run it again to see if it's improved, and it just keeps going from there.
We rehearsed basically every day. There's a lot of pressure in being a lead, and that was a little stressful, and carrying the weight of the production.
Just never enough rehearsal, and practicing on your own in a studio makes you really realize things that maybe you didn't in a rehearsal with a professor, and it makes you look more closely at the movement and kind of think about the corrections you're given, but on your own in a separate studio.
Costuming in some ways is the icing on the cake, but it's not that frivolous. The bad costuming can ruin the best ballet. But as much prep as you do, and you think you've got it all together, then a ballet like Sleeping Beauty comes along that has 270 some costumes in it and more tutus than a normal piece ever has. The Saturday before, the last week before, is the studio dress. Now, what is studio dress? Well, that's the first time we see everybody in costume. It is in many cases the first time we see the whole ballet run together. And things show up. That was like, ooh, huh. And it's a long day. Getting all the costume parts and pieces and finding things that need to be adjusted, sometimes things that need to be almost totally redone. It's also that first time that the conductor is there, the light designer is there, so we've got all of the miracle workers in the studio for the first time. And it is probably one of the most frustrating days that I have, because you just want it to be there. And it's all about detail on that day. So the thing that I miss the most about studio dress is I don't really get to look at the ballet. then, the magic happens. We do a few runs of the piece, and then we move next door to the theater, load in, have a few very long days of getting all the parts and pieces together, and then you all come out on stage and the orchestra plays, and it's just sheer magic. And I say that as a fully developed human adult.
So once we get into the theater, the scenery gets assembled, whatever needs to be assembled. The backdrops all get hung and counterweighted and balanced. The lights all get hung and counterweighted and balanced. And then the lights all get focused, because each light has to be touched and individually placed exactly where it needs to go. The orchestra pit needs to be set up and created, because the orchestra pit that Butler Ballet uses is bigger than what their standard pit is there at Clues. And then once everything is organized and set up and ready to go, the last thing we do is we lay down the dance service, the sprung floor, and the Marley on top of that. A lot of my job is not being the artist, right? A lot of my job is being the paintbrush that the artist uses to make the art happen, right? I'm a really good paintbrush. And I really like doing that. I like being the process through which the art happens.
I always think a little bit about Wizard of Oz, because over here it's in black and white. We move into the theater, everything's in color. And again, it's pure magic that only happens through a lot of sweat and toil, and we work real hard to make sure that nobody knows how hard we work, because we never want them to see it. Never let them see us sweat, as they say. Our students are really extraordinarily gifted, and so our expectations of them is way beyond what a college student should be expected to do, certainly in the maturity level of a performer.
I love performing because of the feeling that you get when you're on stage. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just like this sort of feeling of nerves, but also like a sense of calm, and it really does feel like you're just out there on the stage by yourself. Like, the thought of the audience doesn't really cross my mind when I'm out on stage. I just kind of feel like it's me and the dance.
When I get on stage, I really do feel like I'm a completely different person. Like, I am not Mary Lynn anymore. I am whoever this character is on stage, and I just really love to get into that storyline and be someone that I'm usually not. I watched a ton of videos from the Royal Ballet, Houston Ballet, Cincinnati Ballet, to even get just this makeup. I really wanted to embody whoever this Carabas was.
I get very nervous going on stage and being backstage, but I think once we're on stage, it's such a different experience, because you have the audience, and then being able to dance with upperclassmen at the same time is such a great experience, and they're so supportive and everything.
Yeah, it's not a competitive, mean environment. It's really like a loving and supportive group of people.
The payoff is immense. Performing was magical on stage, and working with the orchestra was great, and I felt like everything really pulled together.
I think it's really exciting to be, especially in Clues, with the student orchestra, because I, growing up, didn't have the luxury of having a live orchestra at my performances, and it's especially exciting that there's students in the show.
It's fun being in a student orchestra while the student production goes on, because I have friends in both the ballet department and orchestra, so it's fun having the connection playing for your friends, and then also it's just nice to play for live dance and just have that connection as well. So it's just like an all-around fun experience to support your friends by playing, but also you get to play too. So
I really enjoy the collaborative aspect between different colleges, and watching people I know from my music classes and the people I know from the dance department work together to make some beautiful music come alive is a really enjoyable experience.
Being a senior and having Sleeping Beauty as the last performance, it was kind of a roller coaster of emotions. It was very bittersweet, I think. I was excited to actually have my last performance and say that I got through it and we did it all. But it was really sad to also know that it was the last time I'd ever perform in Clues and ever be performing with the people that I've danced with the past 4 years. And so a lot of it was pretty emotional for me. In performing on stage the last time was probably the moment when I really realized that this is the last time I'm going to be with these people and the last time I'm going to share the stage with each of these dancers.
The nature of the beast. If you're in a collegiate situation, you've got 4 years, and what probably is less apparent to the students is that we're going through precisely the same emotions that you are. And what you all never see is my devastated peas when June 1st rolls around and there is not a soul in this building except Marie and I. and then it's like, oh, I miss them all. We get really attached to you all.
We're gonna miss you guys. That's weird. I can't believe the year's over. I feel like I just got here like a minute ago.
Every time I go out and come back, I just thank all the beings that one can thank that I am where I am, because this place is special beyond belief.